Now, after the emergence of new leaders in the Senate and House of Representatives, there's still the small matter of minority leadership in the National Assembly. The PDP holds the strongest percentage among the minority parties in the National Assembly, but the party is currently locked in a leadership tussle. Perhaps more interesting is the observed interest of the ruling party, the All Progressive Congress, in who emerges as minority leader. The 10th National Assembly expected to swing into full action soon. The intrigues of the legislative leadership competition and the intricacies of its politics are the focus of Politics HQ tonight. Now, joining me on this conversation is Prince Kassim Afegbua. He's a public affairs analyst and he joins us live from Abuja. Warm welcome to you, Prince Kassim Afegbua. It's a pleasure to have you join us on Politics HQ tonight.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Now, Prince, can you kindly provide an overview of the ongoing jostle for the Senate minority leadership seat in the National Assembly, including the key factors and interests at play?
Well, thank you very much. Well, I don't see it as a tussle. It's an expected democratic process. Democratic, engagement when you have lawmakers, trying to constitute their structure and leadership of the various committees and those who also represent the various parties. When the issue of Senate presidency came on stream, don't forget that every party participated, including the ruling party, the opposition parties, and all of that. So when the issue of minority leadership is now coming on stream, we should expect that there will be lobby among lawmakers, among senators, and there will also be constructive engagement among those who are competing for this position. So it's not a tussle per se, it's what you see in any legislature, any parliament all over the world. People have to lobby for positions and all of that.
It's a normal legislative procedure. Now, Prince, what are the main criteria or qualifications being considered for the candidates vying for the minority leadership position? Is there a sort of hierarchy that has to be followed? And what do these criteria align with the priorities and objectives of the opposition parties? And let's also take into account that the PDP is not the only opposition party. There are about 4 or 5 with members in the National Assembly. So how are they going to work out who will take what position or the other?
I think what is important is about having an individual who can play the role of a rallying point for the opposition. Aware that PDP has 35 or thereabouts senators in the Senate, and so it's naturally they want to have it. But you also have persons within the PDP who may not agree with any choice of the party for the minority leadership. So they might also reach out to other parties, Labour Party, NPP, and YPP. But what is key is the personality of the individual and the capacity of the individual to rally around other persons. Don't forget that in the 9th Assembly, there was an interplay of those kind of forces where a PDP senator became a deputy Senate president in Ekweremadu. And so it depends on the factors at play. But essentially, what is key is how much of rallying point, the person can offer. That is what is key. So for me, I think the opposition should put its hands together. A robust Senate or a robust Parliament is one that can interrogate issues constructively, that can engage issues collectively, and that can also see the bigger picture of Nigeria as its own constituency and not necessarily detain, from the parochial point of view of the individual who is actually running for or looking for such a leadership minority position.
Now, Prince Kassim, in our discussion so far tonight, you seem to feel that everything is following due legislative process, which it seems like on the surface. But how about the alleged involvement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in influencing the selection of opposition leaders in the National Assembly, how would it affect the perception of fair representation and the balance of power between the ruling party and the opposition? Because there's talks about, the APC using the influence of the G5 group to also, put pressure on who emerges as minority leader and and what they do, the opposition.
Well, the point must be made that the opposition party played a role in the emergence of the leadership of the Senate and even the House of Reps. Opposition parties, they didn't see themselves as opposition. There was a gang up and they tried to almost alter the apple carts. It became so competitive, so to speak. And so once they have put their hands into the jar of the leadership process that threw up the Senate President and the Deputy Senate President and all of that, they should expect that there will be extraneous factors that will also determine who becomes the minority leader of the opposition. So the opposition cannot just...
What's the implication of this on our democracy? Does it not mean that the entire legislative arm has been captured by the ruling party in the executive, and it might end up as a rubber stamp legislature?
Far from that. What should exist between a legislature and the executive arm of government should be essentially a symbiotic relationship, a mutual relationship that is both beneficial for the entire country and not for the individuals who populate the parliament or the president himself. So the president has a vision for the country. He needs a parliament that also will buy into his vision, a parliament that will understand where he's headed, a parliament that will also encourage him to take decisions that may be painful, but therapeutic for the country. And so in deciding who leads such parliament, whether the minority, the majority leader, and all of that, the president, through lobby, may also tell them, no, so person, so individual may also serve us well. Because we want constructive criticism, we want constructive engagement. We don't want destructive criticism in persons who may not just like the face of the president and be using minority opposition in the Senate or the House of Reps to be causing all manners of destruction, to be able to come up with bills that will help to address a lot of issues confronting us as a country. And so when you see members of the ruling party getting involved, it is because the opposition also got involved in the choice of the leadership of the Senate. Because they didn't say, APC has the majority, they should decide who becomes Senate President. No, they didn't do that. Okay. They threw their hat in the ring, and they also were part and parcel of the process that threw up the leadership. They supported Yari. They supported some other persons to emerge, but the ruling party had its way. And so it's all about lobbying. It's all about constructive engagement, collective bargaining, so that whoever comes will also be able to buy into the vision and agenda of the executive arm of government in turning out laws that will help to address a lot of our challenges. We need to make progress from this standpoint and not necessarily being detained, with individual interests. I think that would be more of collective aspiration than individual aspiration.
Thank you very much, Prince Kassim. So if I get you clearly, the National Assembly, being a separate arm of government, does not necessarily have to antagonize the executive all the time. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You shouldn't.
Yes.
You see, what you need is just a robust engagement, a robust process of symbiotic relationship, mutual engagement, because the executive will be putting up executive bills. The legislature will take all these bills to the Nigerian masses, with the second reading, public hearing, and all of that before they come up, with a bill that the president will assent to. So there is no arm of government that is in exclusivity. that operates in exclusivity without the president. Even when the bills are not signed by the president, the assembly will require a two-third majority for you to veto the president assent. So in essence, the executive, both the president and the lawmakers and all of that, they need to exist as partners in progress. A very robust relationship that will provoke heavy discussion, heavy conversation, national dialogue and all of that, and see the bigger picture of the challenges facing the country and not necessarily those that are driving individual interests.
Now, Prince Kassim, let's look at the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, and look at this two political juggernauts. I'm talking of the presidential candidate and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, the former Rivers State Governor Wike. Do you think they would have any specific roles to play in who emerges as officers for this minority positions in the National Assembly? And how influential are they in shaping the decision-making process within the opposition People's Democratic Party? I do understand they have a fractured relationship as we speak.
Well, Wike is still very much a member of the PDP, and former Governor Wike also has a network of influence, network of friends across the six geopolitical zones of the country. Don't forget, he also supported some persons to contest for Senate. He supported some persons to contest for House of Reps. And so he was also able to put his hat in the ring in support of the choice of the ruling party in the Senate presidency in terms of Godswill Akpabio and Jibrin Barau as his deputy. And so there is much involvement of Wike because I know that he was able to also reach out to quite a number of candidates during the election and gave the kind of support that they will require to win their positions. That is one. In terms of Atiku Abubakar, well, I think he is preoccupied with his tribunal case. I'm happy that he hasn't gone to Dubai this time to rest. He's still pursuing his tribunal case. Let's see how it goes. But I know that a lot of the effort is just, a wasteful one, because whether you like it or not, Nigerians are happy with the present government. The president is doing well. In the last three and a half weeks, he has, done what even his predecessors couldn't do in about 1 to 2 years. And so he has set the tone for constructive leadership engagement for the country, and you can see that there's some level of tranquility and stability. So Atiku Abubakar may want to use his influence to break down the throat of the PDP in terms of choosing a minority leader. But how much of that influence does he wield? How much of that influence does he have at present? I think he's preoccupied with tribunal cases. Okay. A Wike, for me, is more network. It's more network within the system
and more engaged. Yes. Now, Prince Kassim, I was adding to what you said that former Governor Wike seems to be more engaged and more active in the politics of what happens in the National Assembly. Now, still coming back to this issue, I really want to get your take on this. What are the potential consequences and challenges of having a friendly opposition? Everybody seems to be happy with the new president. Even you have opposition leaders going to the presidential villa. What does this mean? Friendly opposition in the nation's parliament in terms of checks and balances, effective policy making, and public trust in the democratic process.
You see, I told people during the campaign that you are going to be having an engaging president, a president that cherishes the resource of dialogue, a president that is conversational, that is interactive, a president that can collectively take decisions that will have far-reaching impact on the polity. Now we're saying that in terms of opposition with respect to checks and balances, the fact that independence does not mean that they will not see issues from the perspective of the executive. If the overall interest is for the good governance of the country, The lawmakers, they want to see good governance in the country. They want to see the president achieving on his mandate gotten from the Nigerian people. And so it is their responsibility to throw up, laws that will have far-reaching impacts on achieving those mandates. If they require the engagement of Nigerians for them to make them into actionable laws, it is the responsibility of the executive to throw up bills. It is also the responsibility of the National Assembly, the Parliament, to interrogate those bills. It is not a quarrelsome situation. I keep using the word symbiotic because they need themselves as partners in progress in the collective aspirations of the country. It is only when individuals are trying to upgrade their own interests far and above the interests of all that you have conflict. And so I'm not expecting a riotous National Assembly, either House of Reps or Senate. I'm trying to see one that will robustly engage issues, constructively dissect them, and come up with a better position that is derived from informed knowledge of what the issues are. But if people want to now throw politics to the winds and say they want to distract the executive from achieving, even the lawmakers will be affected by either poor or good performance of the executive. So they need to assist the president, they need to assist the executive arm of government in decision making, in policy formulation, in lawmaking, and those laws must be useful and therapeutic enough to heal the wounds in the land. Don't forget that this president is very engaging, very interactive, very conversational. We need to build a national consensus. We need to build national harmony. We need to build cohesion. The country is heavily polarized, but the moment they see that the president has already started, mending fences and reaching out to different opinion holders and stakeholders, the better for a robust and engaging polity that will help to achieve the set objectives captured in the Renew Mandate, the Renew Hope agenda.
Now, Prince Kassim Afegbua, could you explain the significance and responsibilities associated with the principal positions of minority leader, deputy minority leader, minority whip, and deputy whip within the National Assembly? How do these positions impact legislative processes and outcomes?
Well, it is very heavy in a parliament for you to have opposition viewpoints because they bring also the cutting edge information, the cutting edge knowledge when issues are before the parliament, where decisions are expected to be taken and all of that. So opposition leaders that is truly worth its onion will sit down, dissect issues, and bring an alternative viewpoint to issues being canvassed on the floor of the Senate or the House of Rep. And in so doing, they will be putting the ruling party within the parliament on their toes and also contribute ideas that will enrich the process of lawmaking. Don't forget that the law that will be made in that process will be for the overall interest of all of us, whether you are a lawmaker or you are not a lawmaker. Once you are a Nigerian, you will be affected directly and indirectly by the kind of laws that will be thrown out. So a law that goes through a process of serious interrogation, serious dissection of the issues, serious understanding of the issues, such law will help, to deepen democracy, deepen the art of governance, and also help the executive in championing his deliverables, so that in the final analysis, Nigerians will be the ultimate beneficiary of those kind of laws. So I want a constructive opposition because it's an integral part of any democratic process, but a constructive one such that they will also be seeing reasons with the executive arm and the ruling party when issues are before them. But when you have a destructive opposition that doesn't want to let issues go, they want to cause destruction, they want to offend the sensibilities of everyone, such opposition will be counterproductive to the well-being of the country. So for me, it is a check and balances type of House or Senate, but at the same time, we need one another in a robust manner, in a symbiotic manner, in a mutual manner, to be able to deliver the essentials for the well-being of Nigerians.
Like you said, it's more democratic, it's robust, and it allows for dialogue, even with the minority, to have a more robust conversation. Now, Prince Kassim, there's this issue I would like you to shed light on for the understanding of our viewers. How does the jostling for Senate principal positions and standing committee chairmanship relate to the selection process for the minority leadership positions? Are there any interdependencies or power dynamics between these roles?
Well, in the process of lobbying to become Senate president, you are bound to also make some promises to people that if I become Senate president, this is what I'm going. You are going to be heading my committee on this, my committee on that. So what now that a leadership has emerged of the National Assembly in Gospel Akpabio, such a cerebral mind, a man of quality and not quantity, a man who understands the issues and the dynamics in the country. He definitely will want to feel promise this year has made to people or to his colleagues in the process of campaigning for the leadership position. And in that process, people will not be comfortable with who is getting what, because the positions for the Senate, or maybe around 60 positions, 60 chairmanship positions. So you have 109 senators. So you have based on their areas of specialization, based on their understanding of the dynamic issues and the agenda of the Senate president in terms of helping to assist the president or the executive arm of government. And so once these issues are coming up, you are bound to have people trying to say they don't agree, they disagree, and all of that. So in terms of the minority positions, it is natural that they want to see things don't come that way in parliament. There's always that constant nudge for lobbying. People must lobby for positions. They must try to, and this is a legitimate indulgence. It's not a thing that is cut from the blues. No. Lobbying is an essential part of the parliament, and so you need to carry the point.
Now, Prince Kassim, one last issue that I want you to touch on before we wrap up this conversation. There are rumors that are abound that, some senators from the APC that are not happy with the way the leadership positions went are threatening to decamp to the PDP. How credible are these claims? And could you explain how the threat of defection could be used as a negotiation tactic?
That's a storm in a teacup. Who have you seen? Which Nigerian politician have you seen leaving a ruling party with all the power paraphernalia and all that, leaving a ruling party with a president and with the Senate president, leaving such party to join an opposition that has no defined aspiration, no defined destiny? Who does that? I think they were just pulling that string just to remind the leadership that there's a banana peel somewhere. But the APC is very comfortable with happenings in the Senate. They are very, very conversant with the issues. There will be nothing like that. We are fully in charge, in terms of when it comes to the leadership of the Senate. We are in charge. We are robustly engaging. We are not sleeping on our hours. We are reaching out, and they are also reaching out to persons and different groups of nations and all of that. But because some may want to play the role of advisors, really.
Thank you very much, Prince Kassim Afegbua, for your time and insights. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you, Prince Kassim Afegbua, Public Affairs Analyst, joining us from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Coming up on Politics HQ tonight, we will delve into the protests that have erupted in Kano State over demolitions of buildings by the new governor. Stay with us.